Hey everyone, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining me for another explainer. All right, let's jump right into this, shall we? Today, we are exploring one of the most famous and universally loved foods in all of Vietnam. It's a dish that has literally captured hearts and stomachs all over the world, yet it remains so deeply rooted in its homeland. We are, of course, talking about the iconic Bánh. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what makes this simple street food an absolute culinary masterpiece, relying strictly on the insights laid out in our source material.
But before we get into the specifics of Vietnam, I've got a quick question for you. What makes the perfect sandwich? Seriously, think about it for a second. Is it the bread? The meat? Maybe the crunch of the veggies? Or is it how the whole shebang just kind of comes together? Keep that ideal sandwich in your mind, because what we're about to look at is basically the ultimate Vietnamese answer to that exact question.
All right, Section 1, Anatomy of a Classic, the elements of bánh mì.
At its core, the definition of a bánh mì is just beautifully simple. It's a famous Vietnamese sandwich that starts with a crispy baguette, and then it's brought to life by a super balanced combination of different kinds of fillings. Now, I know it sounds like a pretty straightforward concept on paper, right? But our source knows that this simple combination has evolved to become an incredibly important part of Vietnamese food culture. It's definitely not just a quick bite. It is practically a foundational pillar of their culinary identity.
So let's take a closer look at those fillings. While there are a ton of variations out there, the most common type you're going to encounter is called bánh mì thịt. We start with grilled or roasted meat to really anchor the sandwich, followed by a layer of pâté for this incredible depth of flavor. But then, and this is key, we introduce the brightness: cucumber, pickled carrots, and fresh herbs. Top it all off with a kick of chili sauce, and wow, it's an incredible variety of distinct ingredients being masterfully brought together in one place.
Now, the crucial point here is how all of these elements actually feel when you take a bite. And you know, it all starts with the bread itself. The baguette acts as this amazing vessel of contrasting textures. You have a distinctly crispy outside that yields immediately to a wonderfully soft inside. This duality is absolutely essential. I mean, without the crispy exterior, the sandwich would literally fall apart under the weight of its fillings. But without that soft interior, it wouldn't absorb those rich sauces and juices. It's just the perfect foundation.
And that structural contrast of the bread, it is perfectly mirrored by the flavors happening on the inside. You've got the rich, heavy flavor of tasty meat going head-to-head with the absolute freshness of the vegetables. The bright veggies cut right through the heaviness of the meat like a dream. Our source highlights that this specific interplay, the crispy bread, the savory meat, the fresh vegetables, and those tangy sauces, is exactly what makes bánh mì not just delicious, but perfectly balanced. It is a total masterclass in culinary harmony.
Moving right along to Section 2, endless flavor combinations, beyond the classic.
You see, the beauty of bánh mì is that it isn't locked into just one single recipe. There's so many different types catering to exactly what people prefer. If you're not feeling the traditional grilled or roasted pork, you have plenty of alternative fillings to choose from. Some folks prefer it with eggs, which gives it a much richer profile. Others opt for chicken or beef. And hey, for those who don't eat meat, there are absolutely incredible vegetarian fillings available too. The structure of that crispy and soft bread just allows it to adapt to whatever delicious and balanced combo of ingredients you're craving.
Which brings us to Section 3, the ultimate everyday food: convenience and accessibility. This sandwich seamlessly fits right into the daily rhythm of life in Vietnam. Whether it's students grabbing breakfast on the way to class, workers grabbing a quick lunch, or tourists enjoying a midday snack, its affordability and widespread availability make it universally popular. Seriously, you can walk through practically any city or town in Vietnam and spot bánh mì shops and street vendors everywhere. It is a food specifically designed for convenience and accessibility at literally any hour of the day.
All right, our final section, Section 4, a true cultural symbol, more than just a sandwich.
I want you to consider this really powerful statement from our source. Bánh mì represents the creativity of Vietnamese cuisine. That is pretty profound, isn't it? It's not just about throwing a bunch of ingredients into some bread. It's about the ingenuity of the Vietnamese people. They've taken vastly different ingredients, some native, some adopted over time, and combined them to create an entirely unique, mouth-watering dish. It is a true cultural symbol. It's literally innovation you can taste.
So, to sum up its macro importance, bánh mì is this familiar, comforting part of daily life for locals. Yet, at the exact same time, it stands as a shining cultural symbol of Vietnam to the rest of the world. It bridges that gap between everyday sustenance and world-class culinary artistry, perfectly representing the heart of the nation's culture right there in its food.
So, what does this all mean for you, especially if you're someone who loves to travel? Well, if you visit Vietnam, trying a traditional bánh mì is an absolute, undeniable must-do. You really cannot truly experience the country without tasting this foundational piece of their culinary landscape. It is honestly one of the very best reasons for tourists to get out there, explore the local streets, and seek out that perfect blend of flavors that defines the region.
And that leaves us with one final, very important question for you to ponder. Which filling are you going to choose first? Are you going for the classic banh mi thit with its roasted meat and rich pâté? Or maybe you'll opt for the fresh vegetarian fillings, or that breakfast version with eggs. Whatever you choose, you now understand the careful balance of textures and flavors and the incredible cultural history packed into every single bite. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep tasting, and I will catch you next time.